Hey there, how's it going, everybody? It's Wednesday. It's hump day. It's January 26th, 2022. There are 3 sports algorithms that have been generated for today. I did them over the last hour. I have to do them, I have to talk about them because I've been on such a winning streak of picking games in 2022 that I believe it's 10 days of winning and 1 loss over the last 2 weeks since I started doing this again after I got a bunch of other work done for payroll clients, and I had a little bit of time. I can't believe how well it's going. So all right. If I'm going to advertise that it's really, really working well, then we have to do videos before games, and we have to understand, continually predict things almost on a regular basis. That's how well it's going. So let's see if it continues. We'll start with hockey because that's my favorite sport to watch and play. Then we'll go to NBA, and then we'll go to NCAA men basketball, which is 53 games. So explaining how to go through that file is what I'll end the video on. Let's start hockey. So yesterday, unbelievable day. It was 7-1 yesterday, only losing the Edmonton game barely, but predicting that Spencer Martin, not Spencer Knight, as I accidentally say in the video yesterday. It's Spencer Martin coming up after not playing in the pros for 5 years for Vancouver, playing very well against Edmonton last night and barely losing. So anyway, let's talk about today and what picks does it say. So if you're just reading the algorithm in its raw form and what it's telling you, it's giving you a pick rank over here. And the number 1 pick of the day is apparently Colorado over Boston over Linus Ullmark here. And the line is not awful for these Colorado lines. Sometimes they've been in the negative 300s against bad teams. Here it's not great, but it's only minus 170, and it says they're going to win the game 5-2 all the way to 6-2, something like that. A team, Kemper's going. So it's the number 1 pick of the day. So if you just glanced at this and you're like, all right, Ken says take 1 team to win, it's supposed to be Colorado at home. I believe they're on a 16-game home winning streak as well. They want it. Like, there's a reason for them to continue this. They're going to fight for this game. So apparently that's the pick of the day if you just wanted to move on. If you want to get further in depth and do a bunch of different picks, which is what I've been doing, I've been using it to make plays on almost every game where I see some value, then we'll start going down the list and see what else there is to play. And I like to go game by game, but I don't want to take forever in the video. So let's just really go fast, even though it won't be perfect. Anaheim and Toronto. Notice that the line's really bad, and the score does not represent as much as the line here. So this becomes a tougher game to play because Toronto's at home and the line's not good. So I'll just gloss over that game. This game I'm not allowed to bet. I've been told I'm not allowed to bet on my hometown team, the Caps, tonight. So let's just talk about what's going to happen because I'm not allowed to bet on them. And they're supposed to win. Now, here's what Samsonov confirmed. Now, what I saw when I was at a couple Caps games recently, and especially the one against, who did they be? Ottawa, where Samsonov was backing up Vanacek in a situation where I thought Samsonov could have played that game against Vanacek instead of Vanacek, based on alternating games, but they were playing Vanacek, and Samsonov looked a little down, like Kuznetsov was passing him the puck in warm-ups to kind of like keep his head up. I think he wanted to play. So I'm sure he wants to play and prove something. When I look at the ratings of the 2 goalies here, I believe I like Samsonov better in terms of what I think he can do to win. However, now that he's played more games, I believe it's almost even between them. And we can look at that by sorting the goalies here and looking at what that says about the Washington goalies, because there's a lot of talk about Washington goalies. Samsonov's save percentage is now below Vanacek slightly, and so Vanacek's rating is still lower though. Samsonov's record or rating is 2 percentage points higher, so the algorithm still slightly favors him. Games like these games are going to start to determine which direction his goalie rating goes. I like him, so I'm rooting for him tonight. That's great that I can't bet, so I can't throw my curse of my money on him. But let's see how they do. And it says they win this game. It's the number 2 pick of the day. Injury-wise, you could start to dig through the injury report or go through the player pivot here to really open up and see what the line situation is. There's a lot of things you can do with the players to sort them out if you want to use this for fantasy. There's amazing capabilities in this file. I really don't spend all my time doing it. Anyway, so that'll be a fun game to watch. it thinks they might have trouble covering the 1.5. As you can see, 2.5 plus 1.5 is 4, not 3.8. So it thinks that they won't cover the 1.5, but they'll somehow win. So let's watch that. All right, Calgary and Columbus. Number 3 pick of the day, Calgary. Columbus, a team that's not playing very well, right? Yeah, not so much. And Calgary, do they want to win? I don't know. I feel like don't let me feel anything. Algorithm says yeah. Number 3 pick of the day, Chicago and Detroit. Marc-Andre Fleury, talk of him maybe coming to the Caps and news articles and stuff. Here's a really close game with even lines, so it's basically a pick 'em. So you don't put it on a parlay or round robin because it's got a 50-50 chance. All right, that was hockey. Let's do NBA real fast. NBA. An easy one to update. You know, you buy this. This one is so easy to update. You can just throw stats in here sometimes. I mean, it's because these guys are the same players pretty much. It's a smaller roster of players. It's not like college basketball. So always pay attention to the injury report and the health numbers here. Here you got injured Brooklyn Nets, injured Memphis Grizzlies here, okay? And they're favorites, right? The Nets are not favorites, but the Memphis is a favorite against San Antonio, but they're really hurt. So I see value with San Antonio there. Whenever you see that, a healthy team against a weak team, the weak team's favored, and San Antonio's at home, the other side of this, and you can open this up by opening this up like this, you can see the other side of that game is right here, and they're at plus 160. So them plus the 4.5 or even to win at plus 160 is what the health numbers say is distorting the line, and it gives you, I think, an advantage seeing that in the algorithm, right? So let's back up. What else is there that's good? So the Clippers are kind of hurting against the Magic, but the Magic are a really bad team. So, I mean, it still predicts they win by 10. You know, like, I think that one, I mean, it's like I said, when the algorithm puts something on the top of the list, it usually knows what it's talking about, even though health numbers are depressed there. Here, the Mavericks are healthier than Portland, but it's minus 165. Anyway, so there's information to be taken from this. I'm not a big NBA fan, so I just do this for you guys. But as you can see, we moved Atlanta's minus 425, where it should be up here at the top of the list. If you were sorting this by how the odds makers are doing things, we have that lower. Sacramento is hurting, but we don't think they cover the 9, for example, is what the algorithm says. All right, now let's do college basketball. Tons of games in here, and first thing we always look for is, are there any home underdogs? No. Out of 53 games, there are none. That tells you how incredible the algorithm and the odds makers are in alignment now. I wonder why that is. I guess the algorithm accidentally does the exact same thing as the odds maker somehow independently with my formulas. That must be what's happening. Well, it's funny, but no home underdogs. What about regular underdogs? They're all going to be away, obviously. There are a few. Binghamton, once again, trying to be an underdog for us against Hartford, but this time it's in Hartford. But when you're up here at a margin of almost 20%, and the strength of schedule is about the same, they could win this game. So plus 6.5 is great on a round robin or a parlay, and to win on more of the straight bet at the 200. Iowa has Iowa State's strength of schedule is not as good here. So this is more trouble. Although Oklahoma State is injured also. That's good. So you weight these two together almost, and it's like Iowa State does have a good chance of definitely covering and probably winning at a margin of 11%, although it's on the road. So here's some injuries. Here's injuries for Samford against Mercer. That's possible as well. I mean, it's been pretty good on its underdogs, even down here. Here's a plus 175 for Holy. I don't like Holy. It overestimates Holy Cross, so don't listen to that one. Now let's go to home teams, and I mean, margins low. So in order to look at this, if you kind of want to, there's a couple ways you could sort this, and I was trying to explain what I do sometimes when I'm browsing through this. And first of all, this is the order of margin right now is what we're looking at, which is what team is supposed to be that much better than the other opponent over here. St. Louis is so much better than George Washington. That's why it's on top. And George Washington's health is a little lower than normal in this game. So many reasons, which is why they're minus 2,300, right? And it's unbettable, essentially. But that's the order we're looking at it. Well, when you want to look at games you want to potentially wager on, you're starting to look for money lines here that are green or closer to higher positive numbers so that it pays better. So you start to see things like UMass Lowell at Albany or at home. All these teams are at home. So everything at home, by the way, you got 28 home games. Almost every home team is supposed to win. We win like 80% of home games, at least. Sometimes 90%. It's unbelievable how many home games this algorithm wins with a 0% home bump. When you start bumping this thing up with the home bump and changing percentages, home teams move up on the list. But just at 0%, you hit at least 80%. That's my claim. It really, really does. It's unbelievable. On average. Some days you're not going to hit, but some days it's unbelievable. So you got 28 today. So if I said you're going to hit 80% of those, at least, you're going to hit 22 of these games. So which 22 are you going to hit? It says the first 22 are your best chance right here. Okay. Everything all the way down to these margins, but you got to look at the margin also. And margin over 10% on home, I mean, any margin really in home, especially over 5% is pretty good, right? So are there any good lines here? Well, we can sort this by money line descending to get a look at that in order. Let's do that. Money line descending gives you your best odds at top, but you got to glance at your margin here because you want higher margins, of course. So Cal Baptist has a worse strength of schedule against Sam Houston, and they're injured, so I'm going to stay away from that one. Injured, South Carolina, staying away from that one. Now you're starting to get into stuff I like. Here's although Seattle's strength of schedule is much worse than Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin's hurt, and this game's in Seattle, so a lot of good reasons to like Seattle here. Marist margin is low over St. Peter's, and the strength of schedule is just kind of tough. High Point at Radford, 10% margin, so that should be good enough. That's a comparable strength of schedule. So High Point, Seattle, because of that. Charlotte at home against Old Dominion, a reasonable line, 7% margin. East Tennessee State over North Carolina Greensboro, right? Here's a good margin, but the strength of schedule is -4, Davidson and VCU. So you start to get in trouble, but you can start to see picks that look good there, right? It was High Point, Seattle, Charlotte, East Tennessee State. So that's kind of how one way you can look at this, but it is beneficial to look at this descending by percent margin. Whoopsie daisy. I know why that happened. Gotta unhide stuff. Sometimes I won't extend out the columns properly, and the wrapping like that will screw it up right there. We'll fix that. Okay, so point is, there's a lot to play. The algorithms provide so much information that it just gives you just such an edge that there's a reason why I'm winning it abnormally a lot right now, and we'll see if this continues. And I'm not going to do this every day, obviously, with other things going on, but certainly those of you that want to spend time with this, there's so much you can learn and do. Percent margin descending. There's so much you can do with this. What about the away teams, real quick? There's that Binghamton game all the way up here at a 200. That's like money line generosity pick of the day right there. Is this Binghamton? Although you don't want to have your money on away teams in college basketball, so in that sense that they can't be the pick of the day here, but certainly payout wise, that's what the algorithm says. Percentage margin wise is the best pick. Because it's at a 20% margin. Why is that? Health is 100%, but whatever. All right, guys, I gotta run. That's the update for the day. If you want to buy these algorithms, try to go to the website. My website's kind of screwing up, and I can't update my website for some reason. WordPress is having problems. They'll fix that eventually. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just do the YouTube videos. You can comment here. All right, good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning.